What's happening? So this is now episode 2 of Infiltrating the Tories. If you don't know what it's about, basically loads of unis in the country have got societies of young conservatives just within them. And I take it upon myself to try and pose as a conservative student, get involved in the society and ruin the Zoom meetings that they have with MPs purely because I don't really like them. That's pretty much the reasoning for it. But yeah, I did the University of Liverpool first. This is now with the University in Aberdeen. They had a Zoom meeting last night with an MP called Steve Baker. I managed to find my way into the Zoom meeting by just telling them that I'm someone that I'm not. And live stream the whole thing. If you didn't see the stream, these are the highlights from it. So yeah, thanks for watching.
How to unstack the economy. Can you hear me okay if I'm here?
Yes.
No.
I can anyway.
I don't think it's quite
Oh,
we
no.
lost him again?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry about this. What I'll do is I'll
What
head
else,
towards
Steve?
the river. I know. It's a nuisance. State land use planning, restricting the supply of land to build on. It's hardly surprising that house prices soar away out of young people's reach. But unfortunately, changing the monetary system is quite a big reform. But with the QE going on at the rate it is, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we live to see a monetary reform, not least because today, the Bank of England and the Treasury announced that they're going to be looking into central bank digital currency, something of acute interest to me and anybody else who's studied blockchain. So 10 years ago, when I first started agitating for money reform, it seemed like a distant prospect, whereas today it's now part of government policy to be looking at whether and how to implement an alternative money. So that's quite a big win for me because I'm sure I've been part of that conversation. But that, in a nutshell, I believe most strongly that the economy is profoundly distorted by money creation, and that sorting it out through a new monetary system will readdress many of these issues of justice to which you refer. A friend of mine called Dominic Frisby's done a video about 10 ways that inequality and injustice is created by government policy, not this government, but all governments. I'm sorry, I've got to go walk through and vote now, but I'll stay on the line. And I might, if I get a chance, I will find that link and send it to you. But there's all sorts of interventions that states can carry out which manufacture injustice. And they mean well when they start them, but it stacks the economy against you. Do ask the next question. But
Sorry guys, just before we do go on, I do have a question or a couple of questions myself. Will there be time to squeeze them in at any point?
Absolutely, yeah. We'll come to you.
Brilliant.
We'll come to you afterwards.
Lester,
yeah.
you're a star, mate. Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, no
I'm
worries.
talking to some university students, 10 years in the job market. So personally, I think it's a bit of a waste of time. We've got bigger problems.
I think we'll go to an Aberdeen question now. I think, Seb, you wanted to ask someone. For those that would like to ask a question afterwards, if you haven't been sort of spoken to already, if you just put Q in the chat and we'll come to you.
Yeah, I'm just sending a few things off. I don't mind waiting a little 10 minutes if anybody else wants to just jump in first.
You can ask now if you like.
All right, okay. So basically, I did a little bit of research, and I was looking into, Steve's political career. Not necessarily on a whole, just a couple of little things. And this question is directly for Steve. Of course, subject to a lot of controversy last year, there was the whole, free school meals for young children over the half terms when their families were, poverty stricken. And Steve was one of the politicians that did vote against the free meals for kids. And really, my question to Steve is, why do you want kids to die, Steve? Really?
That I thought I was on a Conservative call. That is what Labour brilliantly positioned the vote as. I mean, it was an absolutely brilliant socialist hit on the Conservative Party. And this, after all, is what opposition days are for. But basically, because we've got better ways of dealing with the problem. And so in Buckinghamshire, we had a Helping Hand programme, which was there for families in poverty and making sure that kids were fed throughout. But the reality is that why do you want kids to go hungry is a very, very good and effective. You said die, yeah.
I did, yeah.
But I know, you're trying to inject some humour, but of course I can assure, I don't wish to, going to be straightforward with you. You're all Conservatives on here, and some of you will seek election, and some of you will succeed. And I can assure you that if you're in government as Conservatives, you will need to vote with your party on a 3-line whip, as I did on that day, even when it's hard. And hard can mean that subsequently you find yourself on a call, even with Conservatives, asking you, why do you want kids to starve and die? And I'm afraid this is politics.
But, you know, I was reading a lot about it at the time, and a lot of people more so in the north of England were hit a little bit harder than some of the southern regions of the country by the effect of the pandemic and, you know, by things that were brought on as a result of it. So, really, you know, as somebody who's spent a little bit of time living in the north of England, you know, I can somewhat empathise with some of the things that people, you know, do say. And when, to them anyway, it seems that there are well-off people in one end of the country voting specifically against the well-being of people in the other end of the country.
So, please.
Yeah, but this is just the Labour characterisation of what went on. But it's not posh Southern Tories versus poor Northerners. I mean, that is, again, a gross mischaracterisation. I hope that you will come and visit High Wycombe, where you will find that I've got some exceptionally poor areas.
I'm there.
Well, yeah, but, you know, you obviously can't do it during the pandemic, but you come to Micklefield or Oakridge and Castlefield, there's plenty of people with not much money. And I, too, have spent plenty of time living in the north. And I come from a working class background in Cornwall, where times were not always flush with money. You know, my dad was a builder, so I'm not going to take too many lectures, and I hope you'll understand. You're going to need to vote with your party on a 3-line whip, and sometimes it will be painful. Labour did a very, very good job of positioning us the way they did. And overall, our government has done more to keep people out of poverty in this crisis than just about any other government. And overall, our government has done more to keep people out of poverty in this crisis than just about any other government. And overall, our government has done more to keep people out of poverty in this crisis than just about any other government. And overall, our government has done more to keep people out of poverty in this crisis than just about any other government. And overall, our government has done more to keep people out of poverty in this crisis than just about any other government.
If I may, I do have a question slightly relating to that, if that's not a problem.
I think we'll go to Charlotte. We'll come back to you later, sir.
Not a problem. Nesta.
Thank you for coming to speak to us.
You're welcome.
I remember very vividly, I don't know when in the Brexit process it was. It could have been after the Letwin Amendment, it could have been after one of the meaningful votes, but I remember very vividly you described Parliament was full of cowards, fools and knaves who didn't know what they were
voting.
It
was a private speech, that one, but it was nevertheless reported.
And I remember that because it basically encapsulated my view at the time so perfectly. And I was just wondering, do you still take that view that most parliamentarians are fools and knaves and cowards, especially relating to COVID?
No, I don't think I should say that. People overwhelmingly are doing their best through this crisis. The Brexit process had the particular poison that members of Parliament were claiming to be upholding a vote and then clearly acting against what they were saying, and that's why I used such angry language. But I spoke that day. I got a standing ovation for it, but I spoke that day in not only in a spirit of fury, but a spirit of outright wrath.
Ooh, you're hard showing off.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you very much. Does anyone else have a question? I think Seb, you had a question again.
Yeah. So it's just relating to.
You're muted.
Give me 1 second. Yeah, can you hear me now? Is everything
in
the room? Brilliant. So basically, of course, Steve, you said before that you don't necessarily oppose to military, but you think that it's obviously not our biggest priority at the moment, and in other words, but one thing I was confused about, to say the very least, was during the time of the pandemic, you know, we did have our precious NHS, the doctors and nurses were working overtime, and they were told up until a 1% pay rise was brought in that they couldn't afford to give them a pay rise, but then only a matter of, I think, 6 weeks later, the UK did put £6.6 billion into the development of new technologies such as hypersonic missiles and laser weapons. So I think that maybe the government at the moment is spending their money in the wrong areas when, as I said earlier, we do have children starving in the country, as well as doctors and nurses working ridiculous hours for very little money.
Seb, I mean, the first thing I'd say to you is, if you're a Conservative, I would be extremely surprised. The government has to make really hard spending choices all of the time. That includes making sure that we have appropriate defence equipment. But I think if you go and look at numbers, the idea that the country is materially suffering from having starving children is a little bit overblown.
Excellent, thank you. I think, Ethan, you said you had a question. Or not. Hello, Ethan.
Ethan, are you there? So, it appears, shockingly enough, I can't think why, that I've been kicked out of the call. Who'd have saw that coming? Oh, don't you worry, I will be trying to join back almost immediately. And by almost immediately, I mean immediately. I thought, personally anyway, that the questions were reasonable. I didn't think there was anything specifically wrong with what I said, purely because obviously they are in fact trying to develop hypersonic missiles, but say they can't afford to feed kids or pay doctors and nurses a fair wage. It's a mad one. I don't know why I got kicked out just out of the blue. I thought asking the politician Steve Baker why he wanted kids to die would be the final straw there, or rolling a joint. Do you reckon I'll just start bombarding Nesta with messages? Do you reckon I'll just start typing all madness to Nesta? See what he's got to say for himself, shall we? Yeah, I'll change the settings so that you can see me messaging him. Where's Nesta gone? The little snake. Yo, Nesty. We'll call him Nesty. See if we can get him. See if we can get him back on first name terms. I'll message the group chat as well. Hey chaps. I think I'll just see if anyone will just even so much as respond to him. What happened? I was busy. I think Nesta locked me out. Not sure why. Say Rule Britannia. See what they say to that. I was doing work, so had the volume off as soon as I turned on. Heard you absolutely grilling him over free school meals. And rightly so. Don't think you're getting a safe seat anytime soon. I don't even know what that means, to be honest, what a safe seat is. If you're interested in seeing Nesta Carlson, his full name is Nesta Carlson Devereux. So if you want to see what Nesta Carlson Devereux looks like, this is him. This is Nesta Carlson Devereux. Yeah, as you can imagine, looks like he's got kid skeletons in his basement. Let's send Nesta a threatening message. Let's just see where this goes. Just so I get a bit upfront with Nesta, see how far that gets me. Probably not very. I will do actually. Do you know what? Fucking good point that. See if he's still be friend. If me and Nesta aren't friends anymore, I genuinely don't know if I can go on living. Me and Nesta have gotten so close over the last, month that I feel as though, yeah, we are friends. That's right on his wall. Nesta, you rat. See if he reply. Look at him. Look at are they pink chinos? Yeah. Let's reply and call him an ugly kid. Only now, he looks more like a nonce. You look like Tony Hawk on heroin. And a nonce. Oh my god! Nesta, I think me and you need a little chat about freedom of speech. Zoom. Let's see what he says. Let's see what Big Nesta says. Ah! He's fucking removed me from the group. Nesta, I will message you on your own personal account. Nesta, let's have a chat. Zoom. Let's see what he says. Nesta, don't flap it. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure. And I'll keep you updated on Twitter about the next one that I'm doing, because there's plenty of these little societies all up and down the country. So I'll try and do is, oh, hold on. That's a Facebook message. Let's see what he's saying. Yeah, let's have a... Yes! Oh, yes. Here we go. We're speaking to Nesta live and in the flesh. Nesta, how are we doing?
What do you think you're doing? I don't know if you've never met an MP before, but that's absolutely not a way that you can behave to a member of parliament, especially when you're representing the university at an event. But you accused a Conservative MP at an event with Conservatives of wanting to kill children. Do you understand the problem?
Of course. Now, allow me to expand. Allow me to expand.
Well, go ahead. Yeah.
So, I'll expand. So, basically, the whole point of that question was because, of course, during the time that Steve himself did vote not to...
I understand the political context.
I will finish. No, Nesta, you asked me a question.
I'm quite sorry. You've given this answer already. I understand the political context. The facts are...
I'm speaking on a humanitarian context of children essentially starving to death, and an MP...
Yeah, it's the way that you frame the question. This is an event for Conservative people. The way that you're behaving convinces me that you're not interested in participating in a genuine or good faith or even Conservative manner. I mean, the smirk on your face, the rude... it wasn't just even the questions, it's your manner. That's not how you behave at an event. That's quite clear. It's unequivocal. You're not even a student at the university, so we've let you in. We didn't have to, because you expressed an interest, and we thought, okay. And then you come up to an event. Now, we're lucky, a lot of MPs would have left straight away, because that's an awful thing to say to an MP, especially as a representative of the society.
Right. So we did agree to have a chat, so it's going to be both ways. I'll also say my piece as well.
You can say something very rude. You're really not helping yourself.
Okay, I mean, I understand. One thing I will say is, so I wasn't speaking from a political standpoint, more so as a humanitarian standpoint, where obviously I understand the political...
It doesn't matter. There's no... You cannot... Look, I'm calling you because I want to understand one thing. If you understand what you said was, and the way that you phrased it and your manner was wrong, then fine. If you don't understand that, then you're not going to come back in. It's very, very simple.
Okay, well,
because that's the way.
I understand the manner of how the question was phrased might have came across a little bit abrasive. We'll say.
It was incredibly rude. It was incredibly disrespectful.
Abrasive. But one thing I will say, Nesta, is the whole thing about me joining the society was a massive piss take, and you're a very, very stupid cunt for even believing it, to be honest. You are a fucking idiot, Nesta.
Okay.
And your glasses look silly, and you look like you stink.
That's
to be
fine.
quite frank with you. Nesta, have a terrible evening, you horrible fucking little lizard. So yeah, that was the stream from last night, or just like the little best bits from it. But yeah, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you want to see more of them, just keep an eye on the channel. I'm going to be doing a few more anyway, just so I have a laugh doing it, to be honest. So I'll just keep doing them. I'll see if I can worm my way into any of the other little societies and that. And if I can, I'll do a stream and I'll post the highlights of the stream on here. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.